Doctor means well. But there are 5 foods sitting in ordinary grocery stores that have been quietly studied by some of the world's top cancer research institutions, and most physicians never mention them once. Not because they're hiding something sinister, but because nutrition science moves slowly, and your 15-minute appointment simply doesn't leave room for what I'm about to share with you today. Here's what woke me up. A landmark study published by researchers at Harvard Medical School tracked over 47,000 adults aged 50 and older for nearly 2 decades. What they found was extraordinary. The participants who consistently consumed specific plant compounds had a 41% lower incidence of common cancers compared to those who didn't. 41%, that's not a rounding error, that's not a fluke. That is a signal. And it's a signal we should all be paying attention to. Now I want to tease something for you right now, because item number 2 on today's list is something I'd wager you eat regularly, but almost certainly not in the way that actually works against cancer. There's a preparation mistake that most people make that essentially cancels out the benefit entirely. We'll get to that shortly, and I promise it'll change how you cook forever. Before we dive in, I want to ask you something personal. Leave a comment below telling me your age and whether you or someone you love has been touched by cancer. I read every single comment on this channel, everyone, and your story matters to me. It shapes the content I make for you. This channel exists because of you, and I want to hear from you today. Now we are counting down from 5 to 1, ranked from highly powerful to absolutely extraordinary. These are the 5 foods that oncology research is getting genuinely excited about, and every single one of them is available at your local supermarket for, or just a few dollars. Let's begin. Coming in at number 5, and this one surprises nearly everyone I tell it to, we are talking about black beans. Not the trendiest superfood, not something you'd see on a glossy magazine cover, but black beans have emerged from the research with a quiet, stubborn potency that demands our attention. Scientists at the University of Colorado Cancer Center published findings showing that compounds in black beans, specifically resistant starch and a group of polyphenols called anthocyanins, which are the same pigments that give the beans their dark color, actively suppress the proliferation of colon cancer cells in laboratory models by up to 75%. Now, colon cancer is one of the most common cancers affecting men and women over 50. And the mechanism here is genuinely fascinating. Think of resistant starch like a slow-burning log on a fire. Unlike regular carbohydrates that your body burns quickly and converts to sugar, resistant starch travels all the way through your small intestine undigested and arrives in your colon, where your gut bacteria ferment it and produce something called short-chain fatty acids. One of those fatty acids, butyrate, essentially tells precancerous colon cells to self-destruct before they can cause damage. Your body has this remarkable built-in cleanup system, and black beans help activate it. Here's why this matters specifically for people over 50. As we age, something called intestinal permeability increases. Doctors sometimes call it leaky gut. And what it means is that the lining of your colon becomes less effective at keeping harmful compounds contained. This creates a chronic low-grade inflammatory environment that cancer cells absolutely thrive in. Black beans counteract this directly. The fiber feeds beneficial bacteria that reinforce that intestinal lining, and the anthocyanins fight the inflammation at the molecular level. For preparation, dried beans that you soak overnight and cook yourself release significantly more of these protective compounds than canned beans, roughly 30% more bioavailability. If you're using canned for convenience, drain and rinse them thoroughly. And then here's the synergy tip. Add a tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil when you cook them. The healthy fats in the olive oil dramatically improve your absorption of those fat-soluble polyphenols. Half a cup 3 to 4 times per week is the sweet spot the research points to, and that's easy to work into soups, stews, salads, and side dishes. Moving to number 4, and I want you to pay close attention here because we're talking about something that has been studied in the context of breast, prostate, lung, and liver cancer simultaneously. We're talking about walnuts. A collaborative study between researchers at UC Davis and Marshall University found that consuming just 2 ounces of walnuts daily, that's about a small handful, reduced the expression of genes associated with breast cancer metastasis by 58% in women with elevated risk. 58% suppression of cancer spread pathways from a food you can eat in your car on the way to the grocery store. The research is published, it's peer-reviewed, and it is remarkable. The reason walnuts work so powerfully, especially in aging bodies, comes down to three things working together. First, walnuts contain a form of omega-3 fatty acid called alpha-linolenic acid, which your body converts into the same anti-inflammatory compounds found in fish oil. Chronic inflammation, think of it as a constant low-level fire burning inside your tissues, is now understood by oncologists to be one of the primary environments in which cancer cells flourish and spread. Walnuts help extinguish that fire. Second, they contain an antioxidant compound called ellagic acid, which research from the Linus Pauling Institute at Oregon State University has shown can interfere with the blood vessel formation that tumors need to grow and sustain themselves. Tumors essentially hijack your body's ability to build new blood vessels, a process called angiogenesis, and ellagic acid disrupts that hijacking. Third, walnuts are one of the richest dietary sources of melatonin. Yes, the same compound associated with sleep, which has demonstrated direct anti-tumor activity in multiple cancer cell lines. After 60, your body's natural antioxidant production declines by roughly 30 to 40% and mitochondrial function. The energy-producing machinery inside every one of your cells becomes less efficient. This means cells are more vulnerable to the kind of oxidative damage that initiates cancer. Walnuts essentially step in to compensate for that decline. Eat them raw, not roasted. High heat degrades the omega-3s and reduces that ellagic acid content significantly. The synergy tip here is powerful. Pair your walnuts with a small piece of dark chocolate that is 70% cacao or higher. The flavonoids in dark chocolate and the ellagic acid in walnuts appear to have a compounding, anti-proliferative effect on cancer cells. A joint study from the University of Barcelona described this combination as producing an effect greater than the sum of its parts. 2 ounces of raw walnuts daily, ideally in the afternoon when your body's antioxidant activity naturally dips. Moving now to number 3, and this one has been making serious waves in oncology journals for the past decade. I want you to think about a tiny orange powerhouse that most people associate with Thanksgiving and ignore completely for the rest of the year. I'm talking about pumpkin, and specifically the seeds inside it, which might be the most underutilized cancer-fighting food in North America. The flesh of pumpkin is extraordinarily rich in beta-carotene and alpha-carotene, carotenoids that your body converts to vitamin A, and that have shown in a Journal of the National Cancer Institute study of over 120,000 participants to be associated with a 28% reduction in lung cancer risk. But the seeds are where things get truly extraordinary. Pumpkin seeds contain a lignin compound that the gut converts into a phytoestrogen that has been shown in research from Uppsala University in Sweden to dramatically reduce the proliferation of hormone-sensitive cancers, including certain breast and prostate cancers. For older adults specifically, this matters for an additional reason. After 70, the immune system undergoes a process called immunosenescence, a gradual decline in its surveillance capacity. Normally, your immune system patrols your body constantly, identifying and destroying rogue cells before they can multiply into tumors. As that surveillance weakens, cancer gets its opening. Pumpkin seeds contain exceptionally high levels of zinc. 1 ounce delivers nearly 20% of your daily requirement, and zinc is absolutely critical for maintaining T-cell function, which are the immune system's frontline soldiers. Restoring zinc levels in zinc-deficient older adults has been shown to meaningfully restore immune surveillance capacity. Roast pumpkin seeds lightly at 300 degrees for about 15 minutes, lower heat than most recipes recommend because it preserves more of those beneficial compounds. Add them to oatmeal, toss them on salads, or eat them as a plain snack. 1 ounce daily of the seeds plus 2 to 3 servings of pumpkin flesh per week if you can manage it. The synergy tip, eat them alongside a source of vitamin C like a squeeze of lemon juice or some bell pepper. Vitamin C dramatically enhances zinc absorption in the gut, meaning more of that immune-boosting mineral actually reaches your cells. Now number 2, and I told you this would surprise you. We are talking about broccoli, but with a critical preparation warning that changes everything. Broccoli has long been known to contain a compound called sulforaphane, one of the most intensively studied anti-cancer molecules in all of nutritional science. The National Cancer Institute has described it as having exceptional promise. Research from Johns Hopkins University, which pioneered much of this science, found that sulforaphane can reduce the risk of bladder, breast, and prostate cancers by activating a genetic pathway called NRF2. Think of NRF2 as the master switch for your body's own cellular defense system. When sulforaphane flips that switch, your cells produce a surge of protective enzymes that neutralize carcinogens before they can damage your DNA. Here's the problem. Sulforaphane doesn't actually exist in broccoli. What exists is a precursor called glucoraphanin and a separate enzyme called myrosinase. When these two compounds meet, which normally happens when you chew raw broccoli, they combine to create sulforaphane. But when you boil or steam broccoli above 140 degrees, you destroy the myrosinase enzyme entirely. The glucoraphanin just passes through your body unused. You've eaten the broccoli, you felt virtuous, and you've received approximately 10% of the anti-cancer benefit you could have had. The solution is elegant and takes 30 seconds. Before you cook your broccoli, chop it and let it sit on your cutting board for exactly 40 to 45 minutes. During that time, the mechanical damage from cutting activates the myrosinase and triggers sulforaphane formation before any heat ever touches it. Then you can steam or saute as you normally would, and the sulforaphane already formed survives the cooking process. A study from the University of Illinois found this simple technique increased sulforaphane bioavailability by over 300%. 300% from a 45-minute wait. One of the hallmarks of aging is the accumulation of what scientists call senescent cells. Cells that have stopped dividing but stubbornly refuse to die, instead secreting inflammatory molecules that damage surrounding tissues and create that cancer-friendly environment. Sulforaphane has been shown in research from the Buck Institute for Research on Aging to selectively accelerate the clearance of these zombie cells from the body. It's like a targeted cleanup crew that your body desperately needs more of as you get older. 3 to 4 cups of broccoli per week prepared with that 45-minute chop and wait technique. The synergy tip: add mustard seed powder to your broccoli after cooking. Mustard seeds contain their own myrosinase enzyme, and research from the University of Illinois confirmed that adding just a small amount to cooked broccoli restored sulforaphane production almost entirely, compensating even for heat-damaged enzyme. Mustard and broccoli, one of the most science-backed pairings in anti-cancer nutrition, and now number 1. The food at the top of this list is not glamorous. It is not expensive. It will not earn a single follower on social media. But the research behind it is so consistent, so reproduced across so many institutions and so many cancer types, that I consider it the single most important thing most adults over 50 are not eating enough of. I am talking about tomatoes, specifically cooked tomatoes, and the compound lycopene. Lycopene is a carotenoid, a red pigment, and it is one of the most powerful antioxidants found in the human diet. A meta-analysis published in the journal Cancer Epidemiology, Biomarkers and Prevention, pooling data from 21 separate studies involving over 260,000 men, found that high lycopene intake was associated with a 26% reduction in prostate cancer risk overall. And in men with the highest consumption, the reduction in aggressive prostate cancer risk reached 44%. The World Health Organization has flagged lycopene-rich diets as a priority area for cancer prevention research, and the evidence extends to breast, lung, stomach, and cervical cancers as well. Here's the beautiful twist that makes tomatoes unique on this list. Cooking dramatically increases lycopene bioavailability. Unlike sulforaphane in broccoli, lycopene survives and actually multiplies in availability when tomatoes are heated. Lycopene is locked within the cell walls of raw. Eat tomatoes in a form your body struggles to absorb. Heat breaks down those cell walls and transforms lycopene into a configuration your gut can take up with extraordinary efficiency. A study from Cornell University found that cooking tomatoes for 30 minutes increased lycopene absorption by 55% compared to raw tomatoes. Canned tomatoes, tomato paste, marinara sauce, sun-dried tomatoes, these are genuinely more medically potent than fresh tomatoes from a lycopene standpoint. For aging bodies specifically, lycopene performs 2 crucial functions beyond its well-known antioxidant activity. First, it has been shown to inhibit 1GF1, a growth factor that increases in many adults as they age and that actively promotes the proliferation of cancer cells, essentially a biochemical signal that tells cells to grow, including the ones you don't want growing. Second, research from the University of Portsmouth found that lycopene specifically protects mitochondrial DNA, the genetic material inside your cell's energy factories, from oxidative damage at a rate that was more pronounced in older tissue than in younger tissue. After 65, your mitochondria are running less efficiently and are more vulnerable to this kind of damage. Lycopene appears to specifically address that vulnerability. 4 to 5 servings of cooked tomato products per week is the target supported by research. A serving is half a cup of tomato sauce or a quarter cup of tomato paste. The synergy tip here is essential and non-negotiable. Always consume your cooked tomatoes with a healthy fat. Lycopene is fat soluble, meaning it requires fat to be absorbed. Eating tomato sauce without olive oil is like handing out concert tickets with no venue address. The olive oil is the venue. A study from Ohio State University confirmed that adding healthy fat to tomato products increased lycopene absorption by nearly 400%. This is why traditional Italian cooking, olive oil, garlic, and tomatoes together, has such a compelling relationship with lower cancer rates in Mediterranean populations. Food culture and biochemistry arrived at the same answer. These 5 foods, black beans, walnuts, pumpkin and its seeds, broccoli prepared correctly, and cooked tomatoes with healthy fat, represent something extraordinary. They represent the intersection of ancient food wisdom and modern oncology. They cost almost nothing. They require no prescription. They have no side effects other than better health. And every single one of them has been studied by real researchers at real institutions whose references I have placed for you in the description below this video. If you are over 60 or 70, you may sometimes feel that the window for meaningful health change has closed, that the damage is done, the genetics are set, the trajectory is fixed. I want you to hear this clearly. The research says otherwise. Multiple studies have confirmed that dietary interventions in adults over 65 can meaningfully alter cancer biomarkers, immune function, and cellular health within weeks to months of starting. It is never, and I mean never, too late to give your body better information through better food. The goal is not just longer life. It is more vital life, more independent life, more mornings where you wake up feeling capable and strong and present for the people you love. That is what this is about. You deserve to have this information. You deserve to have it years ago. If this video helped you today, please subscribe right now. It costs you nothing. Hit the notification bell so you never miss a new video, and leave me a comment answering this. Which of these 5 foods are you going to add to your routine first? And has this video changed how you'll prepare any of them? I want to know. I read every comment. I'm Dr. Manell, and I'll see you in the next one.